Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for what is sure to be an interesting and inspiring conversation about art with two very talented artists. We have with us Brandy Mars and Alli van Gruen, who are currently on display in the exhibition Connection at the Silk Purse Art Center. And we're going to get to meet them and look at their incredible art in just a moment. Uh, my name is Stephen Snyder. I am the Gallery and Communications Manager for the West Vancouver Community Arts Council, and we are so thrilled to be able to present this exhibition here at our home at the Silk Purse. And really hope that anyone watching who hasn't come and checked it out will come and check it out. It's a really stunning exhibit, and it's a really interesting location. It's a beautiful seaside cottage here in West Vancouver, which is on the unceded and traditional territories of the Squamish Nation. And it is truly a privilege to be able to be on such beautiful lands that they have stewarded since time immemorial so that we can all experience art and culture in all of its various forms. If you have any questions or comments for our incredible artists, you can drop those in the chat and we will get to that throughout this conversation. So Connection is on here at the Silk Purse until March the 8th. As we said, it's a duo exhibit featuring figurative artwork, all about searching for connection with others, with yourself, with community, with memory, and we'll learn a little bit more about what all that means to our two artists. So let's meet them. Let's find out who they are. Alli, could you please tell us a bit about you?
Hi everybody. Um, I'm Allie. I have been painting pretty much my whole life. I was classically trained at the Ontario College of Art and I was lucky enough to be chosen to go to their satellite campus studio in Florence. So I got to study there for a year. And then I made my way out west here and just continued to paint kind of on the side. It was always a passion for me. And I've painted, landscapes and abstracts, but my main love is painting the figure. And I love to paint. I'm not afraid of using color and texture. And I like to paint on different surfaces. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, sorry, I was quieted there for a moment. Sorry, folks. It's been a month since we've done this. Thanks, Alli, for sharing. I really appreciate that. Brandy, could you let us know a bit about you?
I actually thought I muted myself. I was like, what did I do? Hi, I'm Brandy. I started the gayest little gift shop in all the land in 2016. I've been painting kind of forever. I did like advanced art in high school, and then I went and studied fashion design in LA when I was 18. And then I guess I kind of drew clothes for like 10 years. So I think that's where a lot of like fabric painting and kind of the way things move comes in. And then, yeah, I kind of like had this blog when I came out. And then I turned the funniest parts of my blog into funny cards. And then I started making like cards with my art on them. And then I started selling posters. And then I started making clothes with stuff on them. And like, anyway, now I'm going into, I think this is 10 years now. I just went down and did Art Basel week in Miami, which was amazing. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to show my work in West Van. I'm really excited and thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure we'll get to know a little bit more about each of yours inspiration and process as we go through and we see a bit more of your work. And first up, we're going to take a quick little tour of the exhibit so everyone watching can get a little taste of what they can expect. Awesome. This is just a quick little overview of the pretty stunning exhibition, which has been pretty popular so far. I have to say we've had a lot of great interest in it. Yeah, and all different kinds of media and surfaces and styles. So when you come into the gallery through our sort of street entrance, you get started with this. We have a great little alcove. We've got some really great pieces from Alli, and some of Brandy's got some merch, some cards and prints for sale as well. And then when you get into the rest of the space, we're going to start on this wall with some of Brandy's really striking and passionate and romantic work. Which is, yeah, just really lovely colors and textures and likenesses. And something that what didn't really register until we were putting up the show, because it was up during Valentine's Day and people were coming in over the course of those few days. I'm like, oh, this is perfect timing. It's so romantic. It's so beautiful. It's so sensual. Yeah, and a real interesting variety of subjects. Your solo figures, couples, these peach pieces. It's pretty wonderful, pretty interesting. And then we move across the gallery. When you come in, then we've got bios on each of the artists, so you can learn a little bit more about them. Some more of Brandy's prints and cards for sale, and then we get into more of Alli's work. Yeah, which again, really interesting and vibrant and energetic use of colors that the both of you, I think, share. And then you can see a little bit of what Alli was talking about with different media and surfaces. Also, again, similar to Brandy, sort of, that human figure as sort of the base, the starting point. But then different combinations of people, different types of people, different ways of looking at folks, that Alli you're also exploring. And it's also great because you can get, really up close with all these really tiny pieces. And then and with Brandy's work, it's really great to stand back and really just take it all in. It's a really interesting contrast and compliment that I found visitors have been taking with this exhibit and how they're interacting with your works. So that's just quickly the show. You really have to come in person to see it and really be able to take in the real beauty and intimacy of these works and all of the colors and textures and brush strokes. It's really quite lovely. And you can come on in to the Silk Purse until March 8th to check it out. So please do. And again, if you have any questions or comments, drop those in the chat. Next up, our artists have chosen a work that's on display to talk a little bit more about their process, their inspirations, and maybe how it relates to their artistic practice. So Brandy, I'm gonna pull up this piece, and if you could tell us about lily pads.
Yeah, for sure. Is it there now? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So, I'm really into pre-Raphaelite art, which is kind of the vibe of this. And there are a few things about that era of art that I think are really cool. Um, they always like painted outside, mostly outside, and then always on white, which is kind of unusual. And also, the major thing is that they were kind of like rebels of their time, and they were painting like women, but not like a way that was like normal for that time. So I think it's kind of cool that they're like doing their own thing and trying new things and kind of going outside the box. And they also use like really bright colors and yeah, I think like a lot of my work central is it's about not making it about making it like less sexualized is what I'm trying to say. Because I felt like when I started this, all the artwork I was seeing was like really not what it's like to be in love with someone. And really for like the male gaze. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do with my work is to humanize and also like you were saying about connection.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, and I love you bringing up, art history and taking inspiration because your work is very contemporary. There's a real sort of a pop quality to it, but there is that underlying, how to paint, how to render the human form, you've got
Yeah.
real skill.
Yeah, totally. I've kind of done like a set of three, and probably more. We'll see. I don't know. I never know exactly what direction I'm going, but yeah, there's that one, and then two other ones. There's one called Found You, and another one called Florist, and they're all kind of in this like pre-Raphaelite vibe. Yeah.
No, just a question, not only about this piece and sort of that series, which I are sort of, from I take it, sort of your newer pieces where you're kind of where you're moving in right now. But some of the other works that you have on display really sort of tread the line between, something fairly sort of traditional and representational to a degree like this, whereas others get a lot more sort of dreamy and abstracted. Can you talk maybe a little bit about that? Where does that come from?
Yeah, totally. Like I think part of it is the concept of when you're like really close to someone, it's very blurry. So I think that that's like kind of a cool way of looking at it, like and all the motion and my art and stuff. It's more about like feeling. And um yeah, I kind of like go through phases of like super detail and then I'm like super blurry.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm kind of doing one right now that is like sort of in the middle. I don't know. And I have like so many ideas. I'm always like working on something, but I'm like, oh, but then I also want to make this and this. Like, and I was like a kid, I would like always like dessert projects and like put them under my bed. And then my mom would like pull them out. She'd be like, what is this? This masterpiece. I'd be like, no, don't look at it. Yeah, so like sometimes I feel like you have to like desert a project and then come back to it and you're like, oh, this is actually kind of great. And like is either is like, oh, I don't even know why I hated this and it's great as it is, or like sometimes it just needs more time and then it's like,
Mhm.
you do things and then you love it. I don't know. I feel like the journey of creating something is so tumultuous. Like it's
Yeah.
like sometimes at night I'm like, oh my gosh, nothing's working. It's a disaster. And then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Totally. I bet most creatives can relate to that. Um,
Yeah.
and I love what you said about sort of presenting these works in sort of a more romantic way and sort of trying to take away that sort of male gaze, which you do get a lot in sort of in work featuring women, especially women in sort of like embraces and things like that. That was what sort of led you on that sort of path?
I just felt like all the art I was seeing was like women that were like not interacting with each other. It's like they're looking at the camera or it's just like not the way you would be with a woman. Like
Yeah.
it's like so clearly like someone who's like never experienced that like made this. And I think that like when something is like authentically who you are and you're making something that's like true to you, it like comes across that way. And I feel like that's why this thing that I built is like hits home with so many people. Like when I'm at shows and stuff, they're like, whoa, I like really feel this. And like those moments are like what have kept me going because like being an artist like full time or almost full time is like really hard. And I think that like the gravity of someone like telling you how much your art or your creation, whatever it is, like music or anything, like how much it means to them. It's like you never know like how your art will like affect other people's art or like whatever it is. Like I love music so much and I like a lot of my paintings are like named after songs. So yeah, I just appreciate like everyone who's ever like told me like how like my art affects them and stuff.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that must be really special to be able to hear that, because sometimes you've got an exhibit and maybe you don't get to meet everyone who comes through. Maybe someone even buys something and you never get a chance to see them. So it's always special, I guess, when you actually get to make that connection.
Yeah, like well, and then like because speaking of connection, like when I was in Miami, I think one of the most amazing things that's happened on like the whole trip, there was this girl who was maybe like 13 or 14. She came by with like I think what who it was her dad. And she was like looking and like I have terrible gaydar, but it was like she seems like pretty queer to me. So yeah, but I mean, you never know. You never know. But anyway, and then as she was like kind of leaving, she like turned to me and she's like, "Is this queer art?" And I was like, "Yeah." And her whole like face lit up, like her whole. I was just like, she's so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like really meaningful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Brandy. That was wonderful. And next, sorry, I got to get out of multiple screens here. Alli, we've got a really incredible piece of yours that I'm just gonna pull up right now. Excellent. Could you tell us about this work?
Sure. This is called If We Took a Holiday, and it is oil pastel on Yupo paper. And Yupo is like this silky mylar type plasticky paper that's it's really fun to work with. It can be challenging at times too, because sometimes the medium that I'm using isn't doesn't exactly do what I want it to do. But with oil pastel, um, I think it worked. This was kind of a taking off point for me in terms of using different mediums. I traditionally have used acrylic paint when I do my work, and I'm just kind of getting away from that, and I'm branched into using acrylic inks now and then oil pastels. And I really think this is a good example of how so I'm trying to be freer as a painter, as an artist, and not as tight. And the oil pastel in its nature, it doesn't have a point to it, so I'm kind of forced to be less exact and less yeah less um, less real or high realism as I have traditionally painted. Um, I use photos as a reference, either ones I've taken or I have a vast number of old family slides that my sister was very kind to digitize for me a few years ago. So I have a pretty big library to draw from. And I don't really have a plan day to day of what I'm going to be working with. It's just kind of intuitive um, what appeals to me on any given day. But this was an image of my daughter, Siobhan, years ago in Hawaii. And we, it was also a bit of a turning point moment. And um, I just love her, her position, her body language. It was a fun trip. We were going snorkeling. I loved the contrasting colors. I wanted to really capture that beautiful aqua see color, and I've layered, I've been able to, I think, layer the pastels on top of each other to create different colors, and I like the scribbly effect. I like how it's kind of the direction I want to keep going in my work now. Um, and I feel that for me, um, I touched on that I've painted landscapes and I painted abstracts and I painted a lot of animals too. In Whistler here, people love bears and painted a lot of bears. But I feel that now in order for me to feel like it's a successful piece, I need to have a connection to it and it's got to be close to my heart. So I'm just kind of focusing now on people, moments that I love and that trigger a memory. And in the show, I've drawn on much older photographs that I feel that when I paint the past, it brings me closer to those individuals and the experiences. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much for sharing, especially sharing, that need to be connected to the work means kind of being connected to the subject, and your subject currently are people.
Mhm.
Is it ever something you consider, or something that has come up with people who've seen your work who maybe are represented in it, or they think they know someone who looks like someone in your work?
Um, yeah, there have been moments. And I do try to um, make, not all the time, but I do try to make the figure more generic so that it would appeal to other people. Um, but there is a part of me, it's hard for me to not paint exactly what I see, because that is what I was trained to do. So it's kind of a constant battle. And, when Brandy was talking about painting something and thinking it's awful and going to bed and then waking up and thinking, oh, actually, it's quite lovely. Um, I'm reminded of, yeah, I have to constantly step away from my work, take a few steps back, leave, eat, come back, go, oh, okay, you know what? I don't like the direction this is going in. I need to, um, yeah, change this, edit that. One thing um, I've done now since COVID, I taught myself how to paint digitally through Procreate. And sometimes when I find that a painting I'm working on isn't going the way I want, I'll take a photo of it and then I put it into my program and I play around with colors. And that's a really cool way to then go back and see, okay, this is going to work now. Um, so it's been a great tool, and actually some of the paintings I submitted were digital as well, but that I've worked over top on.
Which is a very cool effect on those pieces, having the pastels and the inks over top, because you're trying to figure out, well, where's the digital painting? What's the tactile? It's a pretty fun exploration, which I think is present in a lot of your work, because you are constantly uh, experimenting with media and surface. Like in this exhibit alone, there's like four different kinds of surfaces and even more kinds of media that you're working with. And you said that's new-ish for you, right? You were mostly in acrylics and now you're branching out. What really made you want to branch out and experiment so much?
Um, I guess I'm trying to get away from acrylic paint because it's acrylic and it's plastic, and not that oil pastels are any better, but I'm just trying to be more conscious of my footprint. And and then painting on found objects like wood and cardboard. That has a huge appeal to me, and I'm I want to go, yeah, I want to experiment further with that. So it just keeps it interesting, and each surface behaves differently and provides its own challenges, but also its own rewards. Um, like the Yupo is really the oil pastel just kind of glides smoothly over the Yupo, but then if I put like an acrylic ink, which kind of has a mind of its own sometimes, you know, it's harder to control, but then I find there's beauty in that too, because I have to work with that and just give up control, because I like to be in control.
There is that push and pull of how much, how much do you plan? How much do you, uh, can you make the vision in your head happen what's on your page or your canvas? How important is that to you to make sure that it comes out exactly how you wanted it? Considering you're using all these different media that are sometimes really new to you.
Yeah, I don't think I have a vision of how it's going to come, how it's going to end, and that's kind of the exciting part of it. It's, you know, on any day I'll decide, okay, am I going to use watercolors or the acrylic inks? And um, I I just think it's what makes it fun and enjoyable for me is not knowing what I'm going to end up with, and then just kind of immersing myself in the process, and then it kind of leads me along, and then I see, okay, I see where this is going, and yeah, so there's never a lot of pre-planning. It's just intuitive. I'm trying to be more intuitive when I paint.
Yeah. And since you're, a lot of the time you're using photo reference, how important is you to sort of recreate exactly the image to because you, as you said, you want to sort of get across sort of the spirit of that memory that's encased in there. So how do you decide what to paint, what not to paint, how realistic to make something?
Um, I guess I will start with the figure that is the main sort of focus, and then I I try to I try to like be very loose and quick with that, just doing a base, and then I pull away from that, and I'll go back in with, so there's always well, not always a line drawing, but a lot of the time there's a line drawing. Um, One thing I do every Monday morning, there's this great online class from a woman in Paris, and it's called Drawing is Free. And she has all these people from all over the world on her screen, like myself, and she plays music, and for the duration of the song, she just gets you to pose just your head. So you have like 2 to 3 minutes to work really fast. So I've found that that's been really hard, but really fun too. And so I'm trying not to, with any kind of work, I think as an artist, you have to pick and choose what you're going to include in a piece. And, you know, photography is great for that, because if you want something exact, then you take a picture of it. And but my job, or what I want to do, is just to simplify it. And I think I should maybe take notes the next time I start a new painting, and I can get back to you on that, because I really don't have a clear answer.
No, that's incredible. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you both for sharing those insights. It was pretty fascinating. Always love hearing everyone's process. Yeah. So I just have another sort of question, I guess. Think, Alli, you've touched on this a little bit about needing to find a real connection with what you're creating. But what is it in particular, I guess, about figurative work that really is it about for the both of you that this is what I'm meant to do. This is me. This is what I'm gonna put out into the world.
I'll go first. I think there's just so many possibilities. For me, using the photo as a reference, there could be, you know, a dress that the figure is wearing that immediately I like, oh, I really want to paint that. Or for me, I think it comes back to nostalgia. Like I said, I'm drawn to recreating or doing anything I can to be connected to my life as a child. And um, not that, life now isn't amazing, but um, yeah, it's who I am, and all of those experiences have led to who I am. So um, it just, I said I have to feel connected. It just makes me feel good. I get that sort of warm, fuzzy feeling when I think, oh, yeah, I remember that day and that cake. I'm going to paint that cake or whatever it is. Um, yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Brandy,
Um,
yeah, why figurative work?
I love painting people, and I think that, I mean, love is the most powerful thing in the world. I think everyone can relate to that on some level. Even if you just love a pet or something, like it's like so universal. And art for me was really about processing things. It was just cathartic for like so long. Like now it's like grown to this other like it's still that, but it's like something bigger now because it's like my job. But like the one behind you with the swimming, it's like I just used to be like I would feel this like, oh, I have like this, I haven't made anything in a while. I need to like process some stuff, and then I would like make something. But like the one behind you with the swimming, it was like from this one like really fun like night in the summer, and it took me like a really long time to like get it right. I think I did like three or four before I was like, ah, got it. But it's not like my art is not like literally my life, like things I'm going through. It's more like it's hard to explain, but it's more like colors or um like I never really realized where it's going until I'm there. Like I everything was pink for like years and then all of a sudden everything was blue and green, and then I didn't even notice. Someone else was like, all your work is like very earthy and stuff now. I'm like, oh my God. That's true. So I can't really plan where the whole thing is headed, but yeah, just like the one behind you, Midnight Swim. I was like walking home on Commercial Drive, and I always used to wear these like really crazy plaid pants. And there's this girl, and she's like hanging outside this bar, and she was like, "Oh, I love your pants," and I was like, "I love your pants," because she had like a cool outfit. And then she was like, "Do you want to come to a party?" And I was like, yes, I do want to go to a party. But I was like on my way home, and I'm like, should I make toast or should I make some like, totally like done for the night. Anyway, so I ended up going to it ended up being this like opening of this really beautiful restaurant. And they knew the owners, and so we're like hanging out there. And then they're like, "Do you want to go swimming?" I was like, yes, I do also want to go swimming. So we ended up going to someone else's house. And then we're all like swimming, and it was like I was up till 5 in the morning, and it was so fun. And I like met this whole group of people, and they're so nice. And yeah, I like walked home like soaking wet. And it was just like one of the most fun random adventures ever. And I was like, I have to like it's not even like a processing. I'm just like, this is such a magical, crazy night. that will never happen again. Like never in the exact same way. You can always go swimming in the ocean or something, but anyways, it was just really cute and like and that is why I made that painting. So
Awesome. Incredible.
yeah.
Well, thank you both for sharing everything that you've shared and for sharing your fantastic artwork. It has been so far for this past week or so, it's been really beautiful having it and having people come in and experience it. And everybody watching, if you're watching this live or you're watching this after, please come on in and check it out too. It's a really intimate and expressive and fun and beautiful show. It's on until March 8th. We had a really fantastic Meet the Artist with Alli last Sunday. And if you're watching this before February 22nd, come on down because Brandy's going to be here. We're going to have a Meet the Artist with her. Yeah, so please check out this great exhibit. And if you want to follow Alli and Brandy, there's links in the description of this video to their sites and their socials so you can keep track of whatever they're doing. And it's been a real pleasure chatting with both of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you in about 3 or 4 more weeks for another discussion about another exhibit. Until then, stay creative. Take care. Thanks so much.